You're listening to the LaRocque Life Podcast, where hosts Michael and Laura explore relationships, adventure, freedom, and just some all-around real and raw conversations. Drawing from their 17 years together with a bit of sarcasm, humor, tears, a few and lots of love. They deep dive into the male and female perspective on relationships and navigate the highs and lows of life together. Sit back, grab your love mug, and let's get into today's conversation.
All right, episode 53. What are we talking about, babe?
We're talking about burning the boats.
Burning the boats. Sounds good. That's awesome. Well, definitely, I don't know. I guess I did have a lighter in my jacket the other day, so.
Oh, yeah.
Felt like I was in high school or something. Like, why is this lighter in your jacket? It's my friend's, I swear.
Yeah. I was wearing your jacket outside. You didn't tell me you started smoking again. Mike never smoked.
No, I was literally trying to light a furnace with the fucking thing. Anyway.
Furnace or a fire outside?
No, furnace at work.
Oh, I see.
For Job Shack. Anyway, now that you guys know that, so burning the boats. Elaborate a bit on that, babe. What are we talking about?
Well, we have some exciting news to share. No, we're not pregnant. I don't think that has anything to do with burning boats, does it?
Okay.
I don't know. I just always know that when you say we have news to share, people like, and for myself too, it's like the first thing that pops into.
Yeah, I always think of that. It's like, what am I going to do for a shower? And what are we going to do for gifts? I always think of that.
Stop it. Okay, so not that. We're making a life change. It feels like this year has been all about change. And I think you should share the news because it's you, not me.
Yeah, no, I'm
Mike's having a baby. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, changes. No, I've given my 2 weeks for work. I'm in my second week of it, I guess. So it's gonna be no more office Mike. I'll have our office down here to be in and work and full on LaRocque life, which is really exciting. It's I can't really explain the feeling. It's almost like when we moved to London kind of thing, where it's like kind of have some pretty cool opportunities ahead of us and some really just openness and freedom. And again, it's not there is some apprehension and nervousness and anxiety based around that, but it's good. I've been on both sides of it now and we can elaborate on that, but it's like, it's good anxiety. It's nervous energy, but nervous in a good way. We'll get into it a little more, I guess, but I've spent so much of my time in anxiety because of work in like a negative way. It's all self-inflicted, or like 99% of it is self-inflicted, of just, I have this idea of myself in my head and I had to live up to these ideas, which on the outside looking in, you can probably speak to that, is like, no, you're doing fine. Like, just carry on. But in my own head, I felt like I was running in a circle and getting nothing done and just doing a terrible job. But again, these are all expectations I put on myself and pressures I put on myself. But yeah, anyway, so we're going to be done that and just jumping in full board with LaRocque life. So super pumped. Excited, and like, I mean, just the things that I've with yourself, but I mean, even just me, like the things I've been able to do with just 2 hours a night or an hour a night after, working all day and then want to play with Lennox and do different things. And then now I get to jump in both feet and do this. I just know the shift in myself is going to be huge. And just to really feel like I'm in my like 50s old lady or 50s lady, just like, just taking some time for myself. But just really work and concentrate on me and concentrate on giving the best content I can for men. And
wait, do 50-year-old ladies?
I have no idea why that came into my head, to be honest.
I have zero idea what that even
I don't even know where that came from. I just won bingo last night. Taking a week from me. No, I don't know why that's in there, but it's too much work to edit that out. So that's staying. But yeah, I feel fucking great. And like I say, it's nervous energy, but it's going to be fun. And like I say, just this past year of getting to work with couples and working with men and just figuring out my kind of path and what I can do. And now I can really hone in on that and really concentrate on it. So it's going to be awesome. Excited.
I like that you said it's like nervous, but it's like an exciting nervous, because I learned this many years ago in taking big leaps myself. And I mean, even moving to London was huge for that. But that like nervousness and excitement are very similar emotions. It's just that like we place a judgment or a meaning on one than the other, but they're both like an excitement. So I think that it's really exciting. There are nervous moments that come up, which I would say are more infused with like the fear, like a nervousness is more of maybe a fear side of it. But I also think that that is huge for growth. And I mean, why are we calling this burning the boats? We're calling this burning the boats because as long as you're safe in something, you never generally take a leap, right? You'll never really take a chance, never really take a risk when things are okay, when you're content, right?
Oh, absolutely. And that's the thing with this career that I'm leaving behind. I don't think you could get a safer, honestly, a safer job in the sense of like, it's extremely public sector. So, I mean, they're just pumping money into that. So like there's work till God knows when, lots of jobs right now. So like getting back to that, it's super busy. Like, I mean, it's just crazy, right? You could work all day, every day if you really wanted to. Is a very well paid job, and it's salary. So it's super safe, benefits. I mean, myself, you know, like you got a truck, a phone, all these things, right? But at the same time, it's, I can't remember who told it to me the other day, or probably like a month ago now. It's like golden handcuffs almost, you call it.
Yeah.
Because then you start getting equity in the company and you start doing different things. And it's like, what do you do? Like we're too far gone, right?
Yeah.
On top of responsibilities and things like that outside of work, and just you get stuck. And that's where most men, and talking with guys, it's like that's what happens. You get stuck and you just can't really take chances because you got to provide for your family. You have to do certain obligations for the family, or if you got older kids, if they're in school, you're paying for school, like just all these different things that you had to do, and you just can't take a risk anymore, right? And it just piled on. And that's kind of what happened.
You can.
Oh no, you can. Sorry, this is in your head, or in my head, the stories you tell, right? But I mean, that's what kind of happened to me with work, like with my career path, because I never really I didn't sit down and plan my career at all, which I'm sure most people don't, right? And it just kind of happened to me, and it just, every step of the way, it was like, you want to make an extra dollar, you got to go to school, or you got to do your apprenticeship. So you like make $1 every year off your apprenticeship. Like, well, fuck, I need that dollar.
It's like dangle the cookie.
Pretty much, right?
Ahead of you, to feel safe, to create that safety. And this is by no means like beaking a job, right?
No.
Not at all. But what we are going to allude to is the fact that there is an overwhelmingly amount of people who settle for less than they really truly want or desire, because they do not believe that they can have what they really want, or that they're capable of having what they really want. And that could happen in a relationship. So settling and staying in a relationship, that could happen in a job. That could happen even just for like choosing to do work on yourself, or take risks and do exciting things because of safety. And so I think it's just really important to address that, because for us, we had to burn the boats. We say for years, oh, well, we'll just work on this more, or we'll just do this more. But there came a point where like there was just no more time to work on that more. Like you said, between being parents and you just having time for ourselves, and then creating, and then your headspace, there just wasn't time. So for us, burning the boats is a very exciting, a little bit scary, but very necessary thing in order to move forward in the goals and the dreams that we have for our family. So we don't do that and sit here and be like, oh yeah, it's just super easy decision and like everything's going to be roses and butterflies. No, it for sure doesn't work that way. We've had to deal with a lot of fear, a lot of limiting thoughts and beliefs coming up around this decision. And I'm so grateful that we've done all of the work we have done, both on ourselves, but also with each other, so that we can sit down and talk those through. Because, I mean, can we share the part about when you quit 2 years ago, but then asked to come
and took it back. That's a pretty big record. I think I hold that in the Labor Board of Canada, where I gave my 2 weeks notice and then somehow redacted that and took it back after I realized what I'd done. And that was only like a few days left too. And then they took me back, and it was like awesome. And
you've been there ever since.
Yeah, and I've been there ever since. And it just kind of like, that was a little bit of a blip, and then we carry on. But that was what I had to do this time. I was like, hey man, I'm serious this time. Like, this will be my 2 weeks.
Boss is like, are you sure?
Yeah, are you sure about this? Like, before I do the paperwork, it's a lot of fucking paperwork. So yeah.
But that's the difference between then and now. And that was 2 years ago, right? I think it was like almost exactly 2 years ago at the beginning of September.
Yep.
And the difference then and now is that we have a whole new level of trust. Obviously, confidence in what we're doing. We're doing what we're doing, like working with people, creating programs. So already in it, it's just like now it's time to scale and put more time and energy into it and headspace. But I always, like, one of my very first coaches, this was back when we lived in London, when I hired my first coach, she said, jump and the net will appear. And I was always like, yeah, okay. And I did that in certain areas of my life. I mean, I would say even moving to London was a huge jump and the net will appear, which doesn't mean just jump and then wait till somebody saves you.
Go sit on the couch, make a sandwich?
Yeah.
No,
it's not a victimhood. It's a jump. Like, take that leap, create space in the universe, in the world, in your energy for the things you want to be able to come in. And then you take inspired action as you're going. So many people don't take a jump or take a leap because they're like, I'm going to crash and burn. And that's where we were 2 years ago. We got some confidence and courage. And then I was like, oh my God, no, you need to go back. I don't even remember. Was I like, you need to go back to work? Or were you like, I need to?
I think it was probably a mutual decision. It was one of those like running to the cliff and then just hit the brakes.
And then it's really funny because a few days ago, I like shot you a text during the day because I was just like running it through my mind. And I was just curious when you asked if you could undo your 2 weeks. And then it was funny because I was like waiting for you to say, why? What's up? What are you thinking? And I was like, no, I'm not thinking you should change your mind or anything. I was just literally like, are we over that hump yet? Like, did we pass that? But it's so different between now and then. And so again, we don't just sit here and be like, you should, quit your job and burn the boats and go after what you want. We do think you should go after what you want, but you should do it in the way that works for you. And we didn't just get to this point. Like, it's been a gradual, frick, we've been working on ourselves in our relationship since 2012, moved to London for 2 years, went through a whole shit ton of more stuff and growth since we've had Lennox, and both in business and personal and relationship. And here we are to be able to sit here and do this. It's not like we just woke up this morning and we're like, hey, you should quit your job. Let's just like trust it's all going to fall into place. We do trust. And that was a factor we were missing 2 years ago. Trust in our ability and our confidence. And I would say mostly our ability. But did you want to say something on that?
I kind of lost it.
Oh, okay. So one thing I just wanted to say is that there's just so many people settling, and I did mention on that, but like purpose and passion. And I feel like today we're also caught up in a rat race of, you talked about these golden handcuffs, but what's the word I'm looking for here? I'm just going to go with stuck because I can't think of the word, but we feel tied to these things we've taken on, these roles we've taken on. They're our identity. They're who we are. And they mean, like, who are we without them? But I believe that our world is going through an up-leveling of consciousness. And there's a lot of like things coming up. And I think that if you're a person who's never really looked inwards and faced yourself, that you're going to have a lot of fears, a lot of doubts, a lot of worries, anxiety, perhaps depression, a lot of things coming up that you've never dealt with before and have always been able to like stifle them down through distraction, through work, through purchasing stuff. And I feel like this time in the world, a lot of this stuff is coming up. And I just think that's what finally was like your ticket, was like, I'm so sick of not having a purpose. right?
Yeah.
And that's a huge thing for men, is a lot of men, well, the masculine energy needs to have a purpose and then be driven and motivated towards that. And so many people aren't. Like, yeah, you're challenged at work, but it's more so through goals and setbacks and solving problems, not challenged in a way where you feel like you're making an impact. And you weren't anyways. I'm not to say that anyone in their role can't, because I think it's really great for people to be able to find that within whatever they currently do, as long as like you feel purpose and I'm not going to say passion, you feel purpose in what you're doing. Because walking down the street and smiling at a stranger, walking down the street and just smiling to yourself, like that is purposeful. So it's whatever you put meaning to the purpose, right?
Yeah.
But you did not put purpose to the meaning of your job, and you have purpose. I feel like I'm lecturing you. You have purpose in what you do here with LaRocque Life and coaching and showing up and sharing, right? And so again, for us, that's what lights you up. That's our goals. That's where we want to go. And so here we are, burning those boats.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And just to speak on that is I wish there's so many, like this whole last year, I was trying so hard and wishing myself into that of, why can't, like, I want to feel passionate about this job. I want to, not even passion, I just want to feel a bit of excitement about it, or a bit of just satisfaction out of the job, which it's an awesome position, and a lot of people do, and a lot of people fucking excel at it and do great, and it's busy, and they're doing what they're good at, and like they're nailing it, right, and they're just crushing it. But myself, I had all these expectations I put on myself, and in my own head I wasn't meeting them, and it was just I wasn't getting any satisfaction out of it. I'm a very hands-on guy, and I was kind of hands, like now, like you step back and you're more in that office administration role, which I just felt like I was drowning all the time in it, and not even necessarily doing it. But again, it was all built up in my head and just no real excitement about it. So it was just slowly like just eating away at me too much. And I was like, how I can't be the man I want to be. I can't be the father I want to be. I can't be the husband I want to be when I have to freaking, put all these shitty feelings all day at work. And then I come home and like put on my smile all the way home from work, and then come home and generally like I thought I've been doing a really good job of it, but I'm like, fuck, this is tiring, and like so much energy, and like my whole mid-30s, like what have I fucking done? So it's just, it's going to be so like, I just want to be happy in what I'm doing. I want to find more joy in that, because that's what I would tell everybody, is like, how is everything going? It's like, fuck man, my personal life, it's awesome. I couldn't get like, it's just going great. And then it's like, well, what about work? And it's like, oh, well, work's work. I just want to talk about it. Right. And it was just, that's what it turned into. It was like, I just don't want to talk about it. And I just want to be passionate about something. I want to just have some excitement and wake up in the morning and be like, yeah, this is what we're fucking doing today. Not wake up with that knot in my stomach, like waiting for the next shoe to drop, or waiting for that next phone call, or whatever it was. Right. And like I say, some people thrive in that and they're just awesome at it. And myself, it just wasn't for me. And I could go back to what I was really good at, what got me to this position. But at the same time, it's like, I don't want to take that step back and go into that either, because my mindset's shifted now, and I won't, like, I was great in the field. That's what got me to where I'm at such a young age. And it was just like, that's what got me here. But at the same time, it's just, I'm beyond that, or I just don't want to go back to that anymore. It's just kind of like,
well, you don't want to go backwards.
No. And that played itself out, and it's great. And I've done everything I wanted to do in that. And there's a lot to look at and a lot to be proud of. And like I say, driving down that one street, now they're starting to like tear down and like rebuild stuff and like add on to things that I've done. So like, I've been around for a while now. So it's just like, it's time to move on to something different and crush those goals and have that in my past. But it's in the repertoire. It's there. I got to meet so many great people, and I've got to do a lot of cool things. I've got to see behind a lot of curtains, which is awesome. Like it's been very good to me.
What curtains are you looking behind?
Well, just to get to go to like all these different buildings and get to see behind the scenes of all the stuff. Like,
gotcha.
I was just on the roof of the AHS building, and anyway.
I was trying to make a joke. You missed my joke.
I do. I fucking way over my head.
You're peeking behind curtains? Get it?
No.
Oh my God. Please, somebody comment that you got my joke.
Anyway.
If not, I will completely retire from my jokes. Lennox likes my jokes. He thinks they're funny. Okay. Anyways, so what I think it's interesting to note that so I was talking about this a little bit prior, where we were talking about just like the rat race and getting caught up in life. And I just think we're so programmed to believe that like the route we choose is the route we got. It's what we get. It's what we got to move forward with. You know, I'm too old. I'm too into this. I'm too whatever, which is all just stories we tell ourselves. And I mean, we're like magnificent beings that can create anything. And so that's all happening in your mindset, right? Like, and I'm hearing you say like, oh, I just didn't feel purposeful and I didn't feel excited, didn't bring me joy. And again, like you tried, like you've done a lot of work in trying to do that. And what I actually think, being your wife, is that your soul is like, it's time for you to leave. You can't do anything. And for some people, trying to shift mindset and find joy in other things, like have hobbies outside of work, may have been enough. But for you, I just think that your soul is like, you're done here. And I said this to you, I was like, you need to quit because you are so unhappy that you're going to end up getting sick or hurt something. Because I'm of the belief that when it is time to move on, like, and if we do not listen to the signs or the messages, something will happen. Like we will either manifest a sickness or an illness, or an outside force will like create that for us to be like, it is time to move on. You're not listening. And so I'm just grateful that that didn't happen to you, for how unhappy you were there. And when I see you do the work we do here at LaRocque Life, it does light you up. Like I feel your energy is completely different. And so what I wanted to say on that is, for anyone who's just listening to this and resonating with it, just know that you don't have to run out and quit your job. You do not have to burn the boats. That was just the analogy we wanted to use. We've tried burning the boats too back in 2016 when we moved back from England to Vancouver, and we almost got...
we almost drowned.
We almost drowned. We didn't drown though, so we're still here to talk about it. But again, part of our journey, you may leap and fail, but you will always be able to get back up. And so we can say that again from experience. This isn't our first burning of the boats, but we had to work through a lot of the doubt that came from that first burning of the boats that didn't pan out for us. But basically what I'm saying here is, okay, if you settle in your life for anything, it's going to overflow into other areas of your life. So let's use you as an example, Mike. Unhappy in your work, because we actively work on our relationship and coach other people in their relationship. It didn't really reflect into our relationship to a detrimental point, but it definitely affected our relationship on a like, I don't know how long I can handle you like this anymore. Kind of from a point of like, ugh, I have to put up with your energy when you come home, but also from a point of like, I'm just really done of seeing you play so small. And you always used to say that to me, and I was like, oh, whatever, that's annoying. And now I'm like, okay, I get it. Like do something. I told you the other day that if you told me one more time that you're going to have to do something, I just can't really handle this job anymore, that I was like probably going to lose my mind, because I was just at the end of that rope. And, I mean, there's no sexual desire in that either, right? Like it's like the feminine craves the masculine to have purpose and to be driven and to be motivated. And so because I'm aware of that, I'm like, I know that you're going to find your purpose and I'm going to help support you in finding that. But 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, I wouldn't have known that. I wouldn't have had that ability to see your potential, right? And so I just, point being that it trickles into all areas of your life, who you are as father, who you are as like a son, a wife, a daughter, switched sexes there so that I forgot which ones I covered.
Fluid, yeah.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? So it's just really important, I think, to take from this message that you don't have to burn the boats. You don't have to quit your job, but start taking some sort of action in your life that creates more purpose, more passion, some sort of change. Because too, like changing even like, I'll speak from a woman's point of view. Like if you change the decor in your house, that changes the energy. And even if you just move around some pillows or shift furniture from one room to another, or the way you shift it, like it just creates change. And I think as human beings, we do crave change, but we don't typically move forward with it because then we're scared of the unknown and the uncertainty. But I think that there's a lot of excitement in the uncertainty when you can trust yourself, and it does take some work to get there, but just make small changes and then you can get to the point of burning the boats.
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, it wasn't lack of effort by any means making that work. But yeah, no, I think you summed that up perfectly. It is. It's really want change. I want to do all these things. You got all these dreams and hopes and wishes. And then I get like people just get stuck in their head of, well, no, what if this, what if that? And then you just, Monday rolls around, you go back to work and just carry on,
just
right?
Play that cycle again. And it's all energetics. So your thoughts create a feeling in your body, which that feeling then creates your habit. And so that you're addicted to that, you've thought those thoughts like hundreds of thousands of times the day before and the day before and the day before and the day before and the day before. And so you're just addicted to your actions. You've created a habit and that becomes your behavior. And so it's all energetics in the way of just feeling blah and not excited and just continuing through that pattern. And so creating a shift and doing something different will help to move you from that, but also doing anything with your body, creating new energy, creating new thoughts. I think we should do a podcast episode on that moving forward, like an energetics one.
Yeah.
But we're also including that. That's also included in Safe and Wild, a module. We're doing a module all on energetics. But sorry, what I wanted to actually say on that with the energetics portion is that the shittier you feel in that cycle and that loop, the more drained you're just going to continually be. And so that's why I think sometimes you do have to burn the boats and just feel like, okay, let's like release all of the energy and the attention I was giving what I don't want anymore so that I can open up this new space and this new opportunity to invite in what I want. And there is a bit of woo in there. There's a bit of, lots of energetics. Everything is energy. And some manifestation in there and stuff. But again, that'll be stuff we can talk about moving forward, changing the way you think about everything. But anyways, now I feel like I'm getting all over the place because I'm just like fired up and want to talk about everything.
No, that's awesome. But let's leave it at that so everyone can carry on. But what else is going to be in Safe and Wild? What else we got?
So we're starting with personal responsibility, like taking complete ownership of yourself. And we're going to go into what that even looks like, why that's important. Safe and Wild is meant to be for couples, but also individuals, because sometimes, and we know this well enough, because when we started down this road, you weren't in on it with me. So I started the work, but then you joined in. So we don't believe that couples work necessarily works. There's preconceived ideas that therapy or working on your relationship means that it's broken, that a lot of people whose parents went to therapy end up divorced, so it doesn't work, right? Like just a lot of attachments to those. So we don't actually really believe in couples work, because also too, if I drag you with me to do this work, you just think like, oh, I'm going to get blamed and my back's up against the wall, and there's like zero personal responsibility there, and it's all a blaming thing. Whereas what we've created in Safe and Wild, it's more powerful if you can do the work together, because it's all focused on your individuality. So module 1, taking personal responsibility of yourself, complete ownership of yourself. And we dive deep into what that looks like, how you do that, what that even means. I don't remember the modules like in step, because we're still working on finishing everything and getting it all pieced together. It will launch very soon. But we talk about energetics, we talk about communication, we talk about the feminine and the masculine and how powerful that is in shifting energy within your relationship. And I can't think of, we're going to probably cover 6 modules altogether. Yep. I can't think of the other few right now, and I don't want to spout something off and it be the wrong thing.
Yeah, no, but you get the gist of it for sure. So we'll, there'll be lots more on that here right away. So that's exciting. And
it's a self-study too. So another thing that I've found is a lot of people don't want to go do couples work because they don't want to be seen, right? Especially if they're new to doing this kind of work on themselves, which I do believe we're moving into a time where it's needed more than ever. And also for relationships, for people to come together and create more understanding and respect and unconditional love for each other, but also within themselves, and creating a loving, nurturing home for their families, because the outside world is like a little bit chaotic right now.
Yeah.
So self-study, so you can work at it at your own pace and on your own, and then draws in conversations to have with each other, and you share what you want with your partner, what you feel safe to share with them.
Oh, I like it. That's awesome. Well, let's leave it at that. That was a good night of info for you guys, and you'll see a lot more of me all over the place, which is good and bad, I guess. We'll see.
Depends who.
Yeah, it depends who's listening.
Yeah.
Well, it's awesome. Well, thank you. I love you.
I love you too.
Love you guys. Thanks.
Thanks for listening. Find us on social media at LaRocque Life Podcast and online at LaRocqueLife.com. Ladies, find Laura on social media at Laura LaRocque and online at LauraLaRocque.com. Have a request for a show topic? We love that. Send us an email at michael@LaRocqueLife.com or DM at LaRocque Life Podcast. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review.